Welcome back everybody to Monster Mayhem. So today we're taking a look at 1965's Gamera the Giant Monster. So this is directed by Noriaki Yuasa, who also did 6 of the other Gamera films between 1967 and 1980. The only one he didn't direct was the initial sequel to this one. And he also did the really rather great horror film The Snake Girl and the Silver-Haired Witch, which is one I highly recommend. And yeah, this is a kaiju film that clocks in at 79 minutes long. Stars the likes of Aiji Funukashu, who also was in Elegant Beast, Black Test Car, and he would also be in one of the future sequels to this film, Gamera vs. Gyron, although as a different character. So a nuclear explosion in the far north unleashes Gamera, the legendary flying turtle, from his sleep under the ice. In his search for energy, Gamera wreaks havoc across Japan, and it's up to the scientists, assisted by a young boy with a strange, sympathetic link to the monster, to put a stop to Gamera's rampage. So this is quite clearly a rip-off of both Godzilla and the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So it's a rip-off of Godzilla because, you know, it's set in Japan, it's a kaiju film, it's, you know, got a giant, reptile of sorts. Even start with the same letter, you know, Gamera, Godzilla. And yeah, like with the first Godzilla, it's in black and white. Gamera is also not necessarily a good monster or anything like that. So yeah, there are similarities, although I would say the one difference between this and Godzilla is that, outside of the quality that is, there isn't quite the thematic depth as there is with Godzilla, and Gamera doesn't actually die in this one, as whereas Godzilla presumably does, although obviously he doesn't because he comes back for many sequels over the course of 70 odd years. And then it's a rip-off from Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, as Gamera awakens from under the ice due to an atomic blast, much the same with that film. And also, like with Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, Gamera destroys a lighthouse. So, yeah, there are similarities there, but nonetheless, this is still adds enough new elements to keep it engrossing and entertaining enough throughout. That said, the pacing could be stronger. It is lacking in any kind of thematic depth, like I said, but then again, so was Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, although the stop-motion animation to that is a lot more endearing than the suitmation that we have here. The production, though reasonable, could be better in areas, and the Western actors are really rather poor. So instead of, you know, inserting these American actors after the fact, like we did with they did with Godzilla, the American version of Godzilla, they're already here, but they're not particularly good at all. Thankfully, though, the action scenes are fun. The miniatures are charming and generally well executed. The running time is short. The Gamera is overall well designed. There are a few likable characters. It is decently shot. The acting from the Japanese cast is good, and yeah, it is overall generally well paced. So, well, not well paced, sorry. Well executed in terms of the general machinations of the kaiju genre. But I would say that, yeah, it's not as good as Godzilla. But this is the only other kaiju series that we got from Japan during this period. This and Godzilla were the only ones. So, yeah, it's interesting in that regard. And still, as a start for this series, it's a pretty good one. Gets a 3.5 out of 5. The only other one I believe that I gave that score was Gamera versus Baragon, which is the only other film that Noriaki Yuasa didn't direct. So yeah, but still, it's a solid start to the series, and yeah, this is part of a box set that our video released back in 2020, yeah. Um, I don't think I got the limited edition version or anything, but yeah, it's a really good box set. This, especially if you are into your kaiju films. I won't say any of these are particularly amazing. You know, 3.5 is the maximum that they'd get. But the rebooted series that our video also released, that had 3 films in the 90s and a 4th and final film in the 2000s, are pretty good, especially the original, that trilogy in the 90s. So I'd highly recommend that trilogy. But if you want to go in at the initial films, then these are decent enough. You can certainly do a lot worse in terms of the kaiju genre. And yeah, this looks pretty good in terms of its 1080p transfer. We've lost this original Japanese audio, although if you don't like subtitles, there is a dubbed mono English soundtrack for this as well. So yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this if you've seen this film. And if you've seen the wider series, I'd like to hear your thoughts on them as well. But like I said, the 90s ones are definitely the best of the bunch from Gamera. But quite frankly, I feel like we're long overdue another film of one of these, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully that happens at some point in the future. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen, like I said, any of the Gamera films or this one in particular, then I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.